Yes, it is very exciting, very honorable candidature and kind of job for me. Fondly say this company is a Japanese MNC with an Indian heart. As to say, I'm fortunate that they understood Indian market, Indian business, Indian people, Indian talent. Finally, in the journey of 10 years of stint with Otsuka. Bhagavad Gita is an 18 chapters book, 700 slokas. I don't think we should create an image in front of our kids and young generation that Gita is a very big
Intense.
Of course, there is a huge research that has happened over a period of time. From ages, the research has happened, and that literature is heavy.
What is the most surprising thing that you have learned in your whole career, being in the corporate space? Surprising.
Surprising was like learn, unlearn, relearn is not a theory. It actually works. The simplest of things is that he also told in one of his speeches is that why you think work is a burden? The problem starts from there. From Japanese people, I really learned. People look at them as they are workaholic people, but actually speaking, they enjoy the work.
Hi Parag sir, welcome to the Next Wave podcast.
Thank you, Suraj. Namaste.
Parag sir, you are from a Japanese multinational company and you are the CEO and director of this company, and the company is called Otsuka. So how does it feel to be a CEO and a MD of a Japanese multinational?
Yes, it is very exciting, very honorable, candidature. I kind of job for me, and we fondly say this company is a Japanese MNC with an Indian heart. So, as to say, I'm fortunate that they understood Indian market, Indian business, Indian people, Indian talent, and finally, in the journey of 10, 11 years of my stint with Otsuka, I could climb the ladder. Not only that, I learned so many things from Japanese people, and they selected me as a CEO of this company, so I'm trying to do my best.
Very interesting, sir. In your journey, it's been very incredible journey. That's what we understand. And the goal of the whole podcast is to share your journey and what Otsuka is trying to do for the Indian market and for the global market. That is what we're trying to share with the audience out here. So, to start off with your journey, because your journey has been very interesting in the perspective that you have been in a company for a long period of time. So, there are a lot of viewers, a lot of audience out there who are right now in the corporate world, right? And they are also trying to climb up the ladder in the corporate world. So there's a totally contrasting aspect than a startup founder or working in a startup. But how to guide or how to move around in a corporate world, and you have been able to successfully do it. So before we go in that aspect of conversations, we understand that you started off after your college. In a company called Alstom. This is again a big brand, and we're talking around 25 years ago, a huge time before in a brand like Alstom. So what is the one learning that you could give to the audience from your time spent in Alstom as your first job, or your thoughts around working at Alstom as your first job?
Yeah, so it was very interesting. And unfortunately, it was a very short stint in Alstom. I was very, fortunate to have a great boss called Parag Swadia in Alstom when I joined. And I was a toddler, basically learner who should cope up with the challenges. Probably, the environment was too dynamic for me to cope up against the challenges. And within maybe 4 months or 6 months time, I don't even recollect right now, but I tried to find out somewhere which is more stable area, more stable job arena, job profile. Probably it was a mistake, but I believe never regret anything. I would say the youngsters, those who are viewing this kind of thing, actually, it was a great opportunity for me in Alstom. And I would have stayed for a while, I would have been CFO in that company way back before maybe 15 years. But the turmoil in the inside the environment, because the Siemens had recently taken over Alstom at that time, and I struggled a bit with kind of challenges. So I shifted to a new job in SR after Alstom.
So, sir, you spoke about mistakes about leaving Alstom, right? So, if you could rejoin Alstom as the same person, 25 years ago, you said you could stay back, right? But what should have you done? What would have you done different than what you did while staying back?
At that time, my image was to do the best what is told to me. Probably if I go back now, I will learn the macroeconomic parameters. Why Alstom is doing like this? Why, and how Alstom can steer the growth ahead of time, Why Alstom was taken over by Siemens, a portion of Alstom at that time. And maybe I would like to add value to that proposition in whatever capacity I can. This is the current situation of my version of
re-looking at it. So interesting. So when things go in a chaotic manner in any corporate organization, which always goes on because of the macro dynamics that it's working on multiple forces, because these are governed by so many stakeholders. So your advice is to understand why they are doing what they are doing. For example, in the aspects of deeper understanding, so that you are able to navigate better, even at a younger perspective. That's what I feel. Right. So now moving on. So now, now you as Parag has moved from Alstom in this huge turmoil that was happening, and he's trying to find some calmer area, and then he has joined SR. Right. So and your time spent at SR is quite long. In context, you spent over a decade in SR.
Yes.
So what has been your learnings from this corporate time that you spent in SR? Again, a big brand.
Yes.
After Alstom.
Yeah. SR was a big organization when I joined, and it was a thriving, very fast-growing organization. And I joined the power group of SR. And I was really, again, I would say, fortunate that I got so many exposure in SR. The moment I joined SR, probably in the interview, whatever weaknesses they found, exactly the same profile they carved out for me to handle immediately. I joined SR. So it was a struggling time. Maybe I spent several weekends in the office, and my wife really supported me at that time, which recently got married, and we moved to this new environment, leaving Vadodara, my hometown, going to Surat and Mumbai. And there was a time SR taught me that within a couple of years, 3 years time, my dedication, my sincerity, and the upbringing of new idea in the tax reformation. At that time, service tax was new in India. And I brought some good changes. It was highly rewarded by SR. Though it was a big organization, it was quite personalized in terms of taking care of a candidate's growth. So I think I learned from SR a lot. And with a very heavy heart, I had to leave SR after a decade. But you'll be surprised to know if I say that this is again my advice to many youngsters that when I left SR, I was doing extremely good in that company. My rapport was too good. The only thing why I decided to move on is that I found a tremendous stagnancy in the kind of work that I was doing in that company, and which prompted me to think a little bit out of the box. It was too comfortable. The township is excellent, everything is excellent. And I said that maybe I'm not doing justice with my capabilities and the contribution which I should do. And at that time, I thought, let me move on. So never leave a company with a situation of, I was not promoted, or less increment, let me hop on just because 10%, 50% somebody is doing. I think this is I would advise, stay back, fight back, contribute more, and leave when actually you desire to do so. Don't get actually just pulled off, from the process. This is my strong advice to all. Then I have not left anywhere. I'm here with Suga.
And so you spoke about the aspect where, you recently got married. Right? So that was just after Alstom you got married, or after Alstom you got married. But you joined SR, or you had not joined?
Just before joining SR.
Just before joining SR. So when you told your wife, for example, fiance, this part that I'm quitting, I'm just like, because you're again young at that part of 4 months and joining this brand. So what was the reaction? What was the what was the emotions of that point?
Frankly speaking,
we were shifting a place from Baroda.
She was staying in front of my house.
Oh, in Baroda, is it? Or in
Baroda.
In Baroda, okay.
And we were in a relationship for over a decade when we got married.
Oh, wow.
We had a mature relationship.
Okay.
And it was a time when we got married, and it was a time to mingle each other and stay together nice as a family. And unfortunately, because of my professional requirement, we had to leave Baroda. Of course, both sides, the parents were a little bit upset that why you are leaving, but she supported me. She supported me. Rather, I would say I had given up on this matter. I said, okay, I will search some other job, etc. Let me let go this opportunity of SR. But she cleansed up my mind. It's okay, let's do it. You want to do it? Let's do it. That's why we went.
So, and can you also talk a little bit about, so one aspect you spoke about SR, like SR looks after its team members in context to, the career path it has. So what are any interesting learnings that you have again in SR, or any particular memory of SR that you had, or any crisis that you faced and that you're able to overcome? Service packs you spoke about, and it rewards the employees you spoke about. But is there anything else that deeper level you had some kind of an experience?
Yeah, it's just basically in those days, bringing innovative ideas into the practices, HR practices, policies, how the governance system works was not that famous in those days. Now I think it is good situation all around. But they really brought a level playing field among the SR employees. They had acquired Aegis, which was around 40,000 employees.
Okay.
Rest of the 40,000 employees approximately totaling to 80,000 employees worldwide. You can imagine the kind of the Titanic we were running. And they really provided the opportunity whereby an employee can go online and search for some opportunity, in other companies, other sects, other locations, and they can apply for it. And the rules were categorically defined. I still remember they introduced a portal called My Equation.
Okay.
And it was almost like a 360-degree feedback system in the performance management system, PMS we call it. It was not easy to bring this kind of things in those days, and they brought it. And they brought it right top-down way, actually, in all the entities of SR. And it was very impressive for me.
Implementing across 80,000 is multiple countries' culture is massive. I think that's what I feel. Perfect, sir. So now, you as a person has moved through Alstom, a one wave, and now the second version of you who's married, who is now comfortable, is trying to seek out for some other opportunity, and then he decides that he looks at the aspects. So then, how did the opportunity of joining Otsuka, again a Japanese multinational, come across? So what happened and what was that moment of?
Yeah, actually, Otsuka did the joint venture with Claris Life Sciences, and there were three companies: Claris, Mitsui, and Otsuka. Otsuka is a 60% share of Claris 2020. So when I joined this company, the joint venture was about to kick off. And again, I would say I would rather thank the promoters of Claris, who gave me a chance to come to this company. And they personally took care of me. When I joined this company, they clearly told me what will be my role. This joint venture coming up, so you work with that in the accounts finance department. And they gave me a big team of 11 chartered accountants.
Wow.
And I would say that I started off with this company very well, and that's why I could leave my comfort zone in SR, as I told you, that I found that Ahmedabad is a good city. It's an appealing place. a new, fresh opportunity. Pharma was a kind of a domain where I already worked in my career with some pharma, Alembic. I got a chance to do internal audit, cost control, many process controls and all. So I was familiar that the pharma is a kind of a buzzing game. It's a kind of upcoming sector, and I know about it. So I decided to move on, and I joined this company. And immediately when Otsuka joint venture kicked off, I think I came in contact with Otsuka, and it was really very impressive to see how the Otsuka people work on the business. An organization we call a big venture. Now it is 103 years old organization. I would say still it is young because they think ahead of time. Today we are preparing plan for 2050 with Otsuka. So their sustainability goals, their philosophy connected to the business is predominant. And it kind of encouragement came to me. Okay, this is the place where I can take risk. I should stretch myself and I should really open up my mind, share my thoughts. And that's how, the journey with Otsuka started.
Now I believe, if I'm not wrong, the promoters for Claris was Sushil Handa.
Yes,
Right.
Mr. Arjun Handa was the
Understand. And then, so that is one aspect, and then you joined Otsuka as a GM Finance. Yeah. So sir, like, what does Otsuka actually do? Right? If you could tell the audience about this brand, we understand it is a 100-year-old company. We understand initially when it started off, it was a joint venture between 3 companies. So if you could just tell our audience what this brand does and what is the impact it has on the Indian market or globally over these 100 years, right? So if you could share a little bit about the brand, it would be very interesting for us to.
Sure. See, I think Otsuka is a big brand in the regulated markets. Our philosophy is like Otsuka, people creating new products for better health worldwide. And honestly speaking, we all Otsuka people will live by this philosophy. Every day we are trying to think how to add value to the patient safety, patient care, health care. And the entire Otsuka is after 100 years is now shifting the focus from healthcare to well-being.
Okay.
So this is happening.
Shift.
The shift is clearly visible in our plans, in our strategies, in our vision, and all these kind of things. And I would like to now come to the India. As far as India is concerned, Otsuka spent around 10 years. So in India, already when Otsuka entered with this joint venture, we were leader in the intravenous infusion market. And we were, number 2, number 3 in terms of the parental nutrition products that we have. So what Otsuka did was to capitalize on this position. And we remain, in tandem with the growth of India and the kind of the policy changes that happen in this segment of pharmaceutical. And we try to, harp upon building our capacities, build capabilities, and remain efficient enough, in 10 years' time. So what Claris did, we took on from there, and we built our, space in India in the 10 years' time. So today again, we are probably saying that we are probably the number 1 market share in India, but that is not something which gives us a good feeling. We feel that we should bring a visible change in the patient's life. The people who are being administered our products. Every 5th patient in India now in hospital gets administered our products. So how do we innovate in this area is our mission, is our vision. How do we educate the medical fraternity, the doctors with the nutrition benefits by our products and the unmet needs how our products can cure. This is a more passionate. Just growing big in numbers is not the focus. You can understand it's already a big venture company worldwide. That passion is to contribute in the healthcare sector.
Now, as you rightly said, shifting the focus and looking at now macro, bigger aspect of well-being. So that's a much bigger chunk because now you're already number 1 and you're moving into the bigger chunk. And again, having a Japanese brand in India brings in its own flavor of the Japanese culture. So, what are the values that the Otsuka India has got from this Japan brand or from the promoters who are actually from the holding company, which is Japanese? So, what are the learnings that you found to be very intriguing in these, in the aspects of running the company?
Yeah, that's a I think good question, and I think we are trying to do a bit into this area. First and foremost is that we are into intravenous fluids, like it goes into the vein, right? So there is a term called nosocomial infections. It's called hospital-acquired infection.
Okay.
That there is a chance of getting infected when you're hospitalized.
Wow.
Why? Because of the certain environments that prevail in the hospital.
Okay.
So every IV bottle is pierced on the top for a seamless flow. So in Japan, this has been completely eliminated many years ago. We call it a closed system.
Okay.
Then we could bring this closed system from Japan very nicely into India. We are trying to promote this, which almost eliminates the chances of hospital-acquired infection because there is no open vent on the IV bottle.
Yeah.
It is picking up in India. We are trying. Now other companies have also joined. I am happy. I am welcome them. I do not see them as a competitors. I feel it's good because it is ultimately good for the patients. More players, maybe it's good for us. No problem. But this is a kind of a clear evaluation in terms of because our main focus is on two areas. One is to prevent malnutrition, and another thing is infection control. So I'm talking about this infection control matter when it is about IV fluids that we are coming with closed. We came with closed system, and the additional features also are very, very attractive. Like the patients are administered the IV bottles with some additional medicine into it. For example, somebody is suffering from the cancer, so he is administered the injection which is already going inside the fluid. In our IV bottle, we have not only a seamless flow of the drops, the dripping ratio we call is systematically going, but the residual volume after the product is administered is almost near to zero. So almost entire dose is given to the patients. Whereas in India, this was not the case. Even today, it is not the case. Unfortunately, many IV bottles we see in India, but they are lacking in this kind of basic good features of IV bottle. So Otsuka Japan could add this value, and now we are promoting it.
So what is the value for the other normal bottles that remains? Percentage wise,
it could be around I would say 10 ml, 15 ml also. In our bottles it is like 2 ml, 3 ml, 4 ml. So the patient doesn't get the full dose. It is not just a sodium or dextrose that is going, but that high-end medicine also is injected through the IV bottle. So doctors may feel that I have given this much of injection, but actual administration has not happened.
And I have seen in hospitals when my dear ones have been admitted, and so normally the nurses would inject in the IV bottle, and you'll see over a period of time there'll be 3-4 injections on the IV bottle. Right. So I'm trying to get a feel of Otsuka's products. Do you have an inlet valve to inject, or like how?
I think excellent question. I really admire your observation in hospital. Unfortunately, our paramedic staff do not observe this kind of things. And if they are listening to me, maybe they should learn from you that being a layman, if you are able to observe that there are injections, pricked on the bottle. So our port is having the injectable whereby the dripping is happening from one port and we can inject from the other port. And multiple injections can be given from the other port in the bottle. So you don't have to prick anything outside the bottle. And it is a completely closed system. There is no chance of any infection in this bottle.
It's not in the perspective. So now we're talking, you coming back as you joined Otsuka as the GM. And this brand is just starting off in India. You feel this vibe, this brand is going to become, I mean, this segment is going to become big. Pharmaceuticals, example, like, you get the feel of it. So then what happens? Then उस journey में फिर क्या हुआ? Like, you are there, you joined this, you're getting a lot of, you've been blessed since the beginning to be, supported by the senior management, or they saw that spark in you, okay, he can do wonders. And here also you get that initial push. But in a corporate world, initial push is not enough for you to grow the ladder. So what happens next after your GM? You have this 11 people, so the whole thing settled. Now what happens?
Yeah, actually, I would say I was a bit lucky that during the same time, this joint venture company, we used to say Parag Swadia Private Limited, it really required people, who can do a cross-functional activity very well.
Okay.
And
what do you mean cross-functional?
Cross-functional is like you are a finance head, you are an accounts head, but you know a lot about supply chain issues also. Then you have to understand the sales challenges.
That's right.
To contribute to the pricing decisions, for example. Perspective.
Okay.
Then you have to make plans. Maybe Claris was a good company, no doubt about it, but Otsuka brought into the foray more systematic ways of doing business. And they were more, I would say, the entire thrust was kind of a compliance first, quality first, processes first. Kind of, you can understand what I'm trying to say. And there is nothing wrong, In either of the approaches, there are pros and cons. It's not that I'm too much advocating this way. One has to be agile. But it was more suitable to me, maybe like this. This is one thing. Second thing is, that I got an opportunity whereby a very senior level Japanese guy, whose name is Mr. Takagi, now he's president of a holding company. He was, deputed at this unit. And I was really lucky. He also belonged to finance background, and I could convince him on several plans that we can embark upon as a Otsuka entity. And fortunately, kind of we say theoretical process that learn, unlearn, relearn, learn, unlearn, relearn. That really I could see in my journey in Otsuka. That they gave me a lot of opportunities. After this stage, I could oversee several functions, HR, IT, supply chain, corporate affairs, so many things, legal, secretarial. And I would like to say, everyone listening to this, is that the most effective thing was that I could leave my comfort zone from finance. Had not been, that's the situation, maybe I would not have the capacity to pick up other areas, especially the international business. Because the unique thing about this entity in Otsuka, although Otsuka has grown so big, but still I would say that what Claris created the legacy, and even today we are benefited out of it, is that we are exporting to more than 60-70 countries. It is a unique proposition of being in India that we Indians can do. We understand how to go global. We are good at this area, and this is unique in Otsuka Group. Maybe over 148 entities, but we are unique in terms of giving this kind of proposition that apart from serving the India in such a large scale, we are also present in 60 plus countries. Now it is 70 plus countries, right? And I was so fortunate that being a vice president corporate, I could get chance to oversee all these functions by Otsuka management, and that created a real, I would say, an urge in my mind to change my way of working from a functional perspective to management perspective.
Okay.
And like an entrepreneurial thought process started getting into my mind.
So as you spoke about the cross-functional aspect, and you were thanking the Otsuka team wherein they were able to give you cross-functional opportunity that gave you a much better perspective, especially international business,
Right.
and which you could leverage later on, leaving your comfort zone,
Right.
and becoming a broader version of the strength that you had, right? So what is your advice to youngsters or millennials or Gen Zs who are working in corporate space? and they are working in multinationals or they are working in family-owned businesses, and they want to climb the ladder up, right? The management is supporting them, those things are going in their direction.
Right.
But what do you feel is your advice to these guys about that?
Yeah, my advice, I think, I don't know whether it suits everyone or not. It depends on the individual and the company proposition, but I would strongly say that whatever I experience is that when you join a company, try to understand the culture of the company, how you can contribute within this culture.
So how do you define the culture?
Culture is like,
What do you observe?
how do they think about, sales growth, for example? How do they want to achieve the sales growth? What are the ways and means? What are the ways and means by which they want to do this? How you can contribute. For example, this is one area. Culture is, of course, an intangible part of it, and it is people-centric also. But by and large, you have to understand the way of operation. Then one thing, once you understand in the corporate culture that how they are functioning, then try to do the best in the task which is given to you.
Okay.
In our company, not just our company, but many times I feel that they want to do something else.
Okay.
But they do not focus that whatever has been given to you has really been you have given justice to it or not. Have you given time and the value to the organization or not in whatever was assigned to you? If you do not do good in whatever is assigned to you, less chances you get new job. Third thing, when we do the job, we are too much obsessed that only I do this best way. It is never the case. There is always somebody good than you, even around you, who can do it better. Never make yourself indispensable for any job that is given. Always try to create a business continuity, within the organization, that you can be given another job. If you want to go up, you have to create a situation whereby they can feel, the management who is observing, the HR who is observing you, the peer group, etc., that this organically happens, a kind of a process whereby you are getting something else to do, or additionally or different way, but the job is not suffering. But people sometimes make themselves so much indispensable that they try to rather project to the management that, sir, only I can do this. It is a big mistake actually. Do not get obsessed. It is a myth. You feel like you are a good CEO or you are a good manager. There is always something better than you, somebody better than you. Only time can tell this, right? And the last but not the least is, that hard work has no substitute, boss. If you think there are shortcuts, just do the shortcut and move around. Doesn't help. There is no substitute to hard work. Whatever you do it diligently, nicely collaborating with the team. When you start thinking that you are bigger than team, I think it becomes a big mistake. That ego creeps in your mind. Maybe you are a bigger contributor. Someday Kohli scored a century. Someday he gets out on zero. It happens. That ego should not creep in when you are working with. You are not bigger than the team. Like we listen from some stalwarts in politics. That व्यक्ति से बड़ा दल से बड़ा देश. So company first approach. Always and always. My function, when you are working in a function at a small level, your functional goal is your goal. How you can connect yourself with the function. Then you go to the function head level. Try to think, what is my company goal? How can I connect to my company? Unfortunately, sometimes people fall into the trap that I have done my work best. Or my function has done the best.
I'm done for the day.
I am done. And you meet all the function heads, then they feel that they have done the best. But the company is not hitting the goal. Then the company management definitely will choose the people who can connect these dots. So those who want to go up in the ladder, maybe these are the small, synopsis.
Okay. So you spoke about, understanding the culture of the company, getting to know a little bit more on the company and getting a perspective how they are doing things and everything. You also spoke about if you're doing cross-functional things, do extra more than what you are given. You also spoke about making yourself indispensable in the aspect of things should not be dependent on you, so that things are working without you. so that then you are able to give even more work. And finally, you also spoke about hard work and not having ego as well in context to it, because everybody sees it and then goes through it.
Right.
Perfect. So I get a perspective. Sir, now also we wanted to learn that your journey in Otsuka has been over almost a decade, and you've grown from the GM Finance to as a CEO and MD of the company of an Indian multinational. So how has that journey been over this decade with this brand? We understand it's a very progressive company who has come with the Japanese learnings and the Indian hard work, right? And the processes that were there in Japan. So what is your progressive journey is designation wise? You would have followed those steps that we spoke about.
Sure.
But any interesting aspects of the jumps or the value, the additional roles that you've been given?
Sure. Yeah. So from GM accounts, finance, maybe I went to the assistant vice president role,
Okay.
and then VP, and then board member, BOD member before 5-6 years, and then CEO.
Okay.
I would say that the larger credit goes to the people who work with me. Really, I would say I cannot foresee myself doing justice to the roles given to me unless they supported me and we could work together as a good talent management proposition. Management is what? Management is like manage, men, teach, stand for tactfully.
Okay.
Of course, I did it. I do not want to undermine that. But at the same time, they also reciprocated very well. Be it international business or supply chain or legal secretarial, corporate planning, HR, IT, and whatnot, actually. But, somehow we could create a good proposition, a good bonding, a good chemistry among our people, who are working like a, one team. And we really do the sessions on one team. And we think about it. We introspect. And my style is like, I'm a bit approachable guy.
Okay.
I do not remain too much away from people. I'm a people-centric guy. Today, if you ask some of my team members, who are working with me, my colleagues, they would rather like to say that he's a chief emotional officer.
Okay. Okay.
So I would say that, everybody is having limited resources. Maybe you want to create a big team. Some people say that give nice increments and money, but I would say there is always a limit. Try to do it. It's not sustainable. But if you connect people emotionally, understand their nature, understand the job profile, and understand the best part he can do in that job profile, and nicely develop a feedback system, cohesive approach, kind of a co-creation. Not like a boss or subordinate, but like a team. So this really I could see in my company, and it happened like as if it was out to happen. It was not something like it happened like a shock to anyone, neither in Japan nor in India. Probably everyone was expecting this to happen, and it happened.
So you call yourself the chief emotional officer. So I get a perspective that you're very good with people in terms of the EQ or the emotional quotient of handling the people and getting a perspective. So do you have some aspects of it that you have learned from your childhood, or is it come from has it come from over a bit of working, or is it a part of the Japanese element? So where did you become? It didn't happen all of a sudden. So where did this switch happen, or it's a gradual thing? So where did that emotional thing happen? Being a leadership perspective.
Today, if you ask me, frankly, my personality today, which is being perceived by others and even to me also, has drastically changed from what I was in my childhood. I was a highly emotional person. Maybe cannot handle any critics. If you fail in anything, or too much, my God, what happened, kind of things. I suffered a lot. enough suffering happened actually.
For the clarity to come.
For the clarity to come. And
So you have to suffer before getting clarity?
I would not say that. I would say the current generation is smart enough. They are old and they should not be like me, what I was, you know. But eventually, something happened, you know, because of probably my exposure to certain spiritual aspects of life. While I was emotionally good, too much emotional, the spiritual content went inside this life,
Balance.
the emotion, and channelize the emotion. Emotions are not bad actually. And somebody may say that, you know, oh, you should not be too much emotional or do not express too much. I don't agree. If you feel like crying, please cry. Don't worry. If you feel like laughing, please laugh. Suppressing emotion is the problem. If you channelize the emotions, you know, they work in wonderful way. And that I learned from two areas. One thing is my failures and my introspection. Second thing is exposure to Bhagavad Gita, teachings by the Chinmaya Mission. And one of my father's friend, Mr. N.S. Dulakia, he really taught us. Every Thursday we used to sit down for 1 hour, 2 hours time in the evening and nicely studied Gita. And this probably has helped me over a period of time in shaping up my EQ. And I am proud of it. I always say that many people that maybe I need a good IQ people and my EQ, maybe let's join together.
Wow. So failing, introspecting,
Right.
and then getting the balancing the EQ and the spiritual aspect. That's what worked for you. And doing it on a repetitive period of time and then becoming good. And you also spoke about Bhagavad Gita as well. So do you remember any of the sloks or any interesting sloks that would be advisable for the youth as well? Because what we understand is your journey in the childhood has been very influenced with Sanskrit, right? So if you could share some aspect of the sloks, and why do you feel Bhagavad Gita is relatable to the youth? Because it's so intense, it's so broad, it's so big, right? So what are your perspectives on that?
That's right. Basically, you know, why I say Bhagavad Gita, it has been, you know, a kind of a self-created notion, kind of, you know, that, oh, Gita is very difficult and, you know, it's very big literature. And it's not like this. Bhagavad Gita is an 18 chapters book, 700 slokas. I don't think we should create an image in front of our kids and young generation that Gita is a very big literature.
Intense.
Of course, there is a huge research that has happened over a period of time. From ages, the research has happened, and that literature is heavy. But it is up to your curiosity. When you just go through the Bhagavad Gita, it is up to your curiosity that, you know, can take you inside some deeper meanings of sloka. So that's why I say that initially when you start reading the Bhagavad Gita, maybe you may not understand 70%. Maybe you understand in your own way, which is not a kind of, you know, the refined way. But there are so many research done on Gita that you can always see. For example, I was exposed to this situation whereby we used to chant every one adhyaya, it's called chapter, every Thursday. And so most of, I think I remember probably 15 to 17 chapters were kanthastha at that time. But over a period of time, maybe today I can chant only 2 adhyaya, 12 and 15 without referring to the book. Then I learned from Pandurang Shastri's Swadhyay Parivar, you know, teachings. I will tell you briefly how brilliantly explained Gita is. You know, that it starts with dharma. The first shloka is like dharma kshetre kurukshetre samavetta yutsama. And the last shloka ends with mama. Yatra yogeshwara krishna tatra vastata nudana tasya vijayo buddhi dhruva niti matir mama. Dharma mama. My dharma. The entire Gita, this is brilliantly explained by Pandurang Shastri. You see, if you are just a reader of Gita, will you come across this kind of explanation? No. So there has been, that's why I'm saying, there is a research done profoundly by so many scholars, which you can benefit out. What is my dharma as an Indian citizen? What is my dharma as a Otsuka employee? What is my dharma as a husband? My dharma as a son? Like this. This is dharma. We associate it with like, okay, Hinduism and Muslim, Islam is not dharma actually.
It's the versions of it.
This is a kind of a belief system, a kind of a way of prayer that is being termed as a religion. So this kind of myth will break when you read Bhagavad Gita. That's why we call it Sanatan Dharma, part of it. Sanatan Dharma is not any thing, it's like something which is eternal. So there is a good sloka, as you say, for the youth to understand. In the huge galaxy, we are on a small planet, namely Earth, having gravitational force and some, oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, water, the Pancha Tattva we call is around us. Our body is also made by Pancha Tattva. So there is a nice shloka which I remember today from Vedic scripture is like Purna Mada Purna Midam Purnat Purna Mudachyate Purnasya Purna Madaya Purna Meva Vashishyate. It's meaning of infinity.
Okay.
That this is a kind of a Purna from where if you take out Purna, also Purna remains. If you add a Purna, also Purna remains. It's not plus and minus. It's an infinite place where actually we are existing. And we should try to think these kind of things in a broader perspective. We come to know that what is our dharma today as a Manushya, what is our dharma? Why we have taken the birth? It is a matter of 0 and 1. Life, death, life and death. Because this is the only Sanatan Satya today. And in this game, where we are put in by the Almighty, what is the best way to do our job? And there you reach out to the Karma Yoga called Anasakti Yoga. That as Gita is very simple, everybody says, Karmanye Vadhikaraste Ma Phalesh Padach. Ma Karma Phalahetu Ma Tiranga Vikarmani. Means do a karma without expecting results. It's easy? It's not easy. But this kind of things are nicely woven in the literature of Gita. That it gives us kind of a wisdom that how to detach ourselves from results. Whether success comes or whether failure comes. Then the world becomes very, borderless kind of. Borderless the way we can perform. I'm sorry for my long explanation.
That's very nice.
Suraj, but so
I was curious if a 20-year-old now wants to understand these 18 chapters and the 700 shloks.
Right.
Right. So a lot of people have made a different iteration version of explanation that we spoke about.
Nice.
Right. So what should he or she do or go to understand these? So what would you recommend? How should they go about learning this and just getting it? So
yeah, first of all, start congratulating, start giving greetings in Sanskrit to an extent possible. You say happy birthday. Instead of that, say Shubham Janmadina, for example. Like a small thing. Maybe some people may say, oh, it's too much. How does it look? Oh, I am all one out. No, you are not all one out. It's very big meaning difference. Happy and Shubha. It's a happy Navratri. It's a Shubha Navratri. Start thinking from little bit more deeper way. Then what a youngster should do. For example, he's feeling anxiety. This is nice. Today it is very common. Go and put in the Google how to reduce anxiety. What Gita's preaching is. Okay, because this is a simple way I'm trying to navigate how the youngster should do. You see what is explained in Gita. Try to understand. Could not understand? It's fine. But this will open up the way. For example, how to control anger. Go and you listen to Sadhguru today, a profound speaker. The way he explains, to the youth in English, is profound. So like this, I would suggest that, instead of keeping that with you, first and foremost is that you realize that I am having some kind of disorder, which I realize and I want to overcome. And then little bit add with the ancient literature of Gita, the preachings from the many stalwarts, and that's how he can dwell into the subject.
So one element is that you speaking about having conversations in Sanskrit. What we're also seeing is Otsuka being a Japanese brand. One of the commonalities that we see is they speak in Japanese. They speak Japanese even in India, right? And they're proud of it. We understand they can speak English, or they're good at it, or maybe other countries in other languages they're good at it. So what is your take on that perspective of why should we speak Sanskrit, and why are other countries, like why are they speaking Spanish? Why in Colombia it's 100% Spanish, they're bad at English. Mexicans are good at Spanish. French are talking in French. Right? Italians are talking Italian, and when they come here, they talk in Italian. Russians talk in Russian. Right? We, however, in the youth part of it, or we find it pretty cool as well to speak in English. So we don't speak Sanskrit or Hindi in front of them. So is there any learning from that perspective or observations of yours, in this language element?
That's right. I would profoundly say that mother tongue is something like the most important thing of the base of learning by anyone. Today, unfortunately, our parents are sending their kids to the English medium school. It's not unfortunate. It's fine. We should be proud of it. Today, India has a most English-speaking youth, which is creating a good proposition for us. And we should not say that, oh, why we did it. It's good. Fine. At the same time, talking in the mother tongue at home is more important than this. This is the point, because you can anytime convert your thought process into the language, creating language barriers by learning the other language. But the logic developed in your mind using the mother tongue is profound, and hence it is like Gujarati language or Tamil language or any language maybe. Try to speak in mother tongue. This is my always. I would like to advocate everyone listening to this. Then comes Sanskrit. Why Sanskrit? Is that because we were the richest, most sustainable, thriving, oldest civilized culture of this earth. Then how did they do it? If they were not having any scientific base, then do you think they can survive for thousands of years on this earth? Created so many scriptures which today you cannot replicate, and there were systems. Probably they didn't resort to certain developmental traits because they were not sustainable. They were harmful to the environment. So today we are talking about SDG by the UN because we are into plastic. We are not able to recycle it. We invented several things which are now emanating carbon dioxide, and we are creating. We are damaging the environment. We say. Which they understood probably thousands of years ago, they prevented. Now, if you want to understand this culture, how would you do it without knowing Sanskrit? Because it is in Sanskrit. The biggest library of Sanskrit literature is in Germany. So why do you think the Germans would have taken the Sanskrit literature from India to Germany? There must be something behind it. Unless you ignore Sanskrit, I think it is not a wise way. At the same time, maybe I understand the challenges also. So, no need to do PhD anywhere, but at least be vigilant of what is going on around.
So, sir, the trend as you spoke about the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, you spoke about. So, what is Otsuka doing in this space? The aspects of sustainability in the country.
Otsuka Holding website is very clear about sustainability goals. If anyone refers to the holding company website, I think they were given a detailed program along with indicators, and along they have chalked out how we should go ahead with the sustainability goals. Then coming to OPI, that is our India entity, a small part of Otsuka Ocean. We are also trying. OPI stands for Otsuka Pharmaceutical India. So the company in which I am CEO. So we have been continuously, working on sustainability goals aligned with the Otsuka Holding. They are being monitored by the holding company. We report to them, but the Otsuka culture is like they do not give any pressure on the entities.
Okay.
They allow them to think.
Okay.
So with this thought process, Suraj, actually, we have proudly we can say that we have done a bit good, in this area. Of course, doing this has its cost, capex and opex, but we have rather thought more about sustainability, and it is going to pay in long term. We are very sure. The ROI is also clear. Every entrepreneur should focus on sustainability goals today, and if they do not do, maybe they will be irrelevant in the next decade.
Okay.
So in terms of water, we have a zero liquid discharge.
Okay.
It means we excavate water from the earth,
Okay.
and we use it in our process,
Okay.
and whatever water remains is treated in the effluent treatment plant and is put it back on the earth table.
Okay.
So there is a zero waste. Either it goes to the product or it goes to the earth's back, our mother earth. So this system itself was installed by influence of Japanese people. I would say they rather brought this concept here and we implemented it. In terms of CO2 emission, we have stopped using coal as a fuel for our boilers. We use HSD and a kind of CO2 emission as far as possible we try to control by our monitoring system, by filters, and this is the way we contribute in terms of the air pollution control. In terms of the electricity, we installed a 2 megawatt solar plant before 3 years. So it is rather catering to almost over 60% of the power requirement. And the residual power requirement also, we are sourcing from the hybrid power resources.
Okay.
So it is like in all areas, we are trying to do a bit to contribute to the Otsuka holding sustainability. But of course, our major goal is to reach net zero position by 2050.
Okay.
It has time, but we are stepping up, in this way to do it.
There's substantial aspects happening in multi dimensions in the sustainability part of it. Now, another aspect that is driving in today's manufacturing industry is the digital transformation part of it. Right. So what's Otsuka's perspective on digital transformation, and what interesting things has Otsuka been doing in this space?
I think in OPI, though we are at a small scale, but we are embarking upon a journey called digital transformation. We call it, in Japan, they call it a smart company. Smart company means that they integrate the digital transformation tools along with the business processes in such a way, seamless way, that finally gives good results. Finally, we can benefit patients ultimately. So we have introduced several systems within OPI, whereby not only we have digitized certain processes, but also it is more transformative from point of view of the speed and the output as a result of that process. Whether it is a quality QMS area, quality management systems, or it's like automation in the machines, the processes, or maybe it is like a dashboard kind of things which are being used in sales marketing. However, if you ask me, the most interesting part of the overall Otsuka venture using digital tool is one of our patented product called MD of MySight, which was launched in USA for the schizophrenia patients, and the indications were clear. The product was nice, in its features, but over a period of time, Otsuka realized that somehow the effect is not that profound, and they innovated and put inside a chip, a small chip, which can monitor, whether when the patient took the medicine, because schizophrenia patients often forget this kind of dosages and all. And this worked wonderfully well. And I would say US FDA was also smart enough to they approved the first of its kind product in USA. It became $5 billion brand.
So this chip is put on schizophrenia patients
on the tablet.
Okay, the tablet.
Abilify MySight.
Okay.
So when the tablet is taken, the device records that the tablet is inside the stomach.
Okay, and then it sends signals to a receiver outside stating that I'm consumed.
So this is brilliantly worked, and many patients got cured. there was a small gap. We call it this unmet needs.
Okay.
This is called unmet need, which was, the digital tools could really substitute this, and this will become a world famous brand.
What do you mean by unmet needs?
Unmet needs are like, like your Maslow theory. People have needs, there is a triangle of it. But unmet need is that we have to find out from the entire, overall patient cure, that what are the areas whereby because of the lack of medicine, because of the lack of nutrition, certain parameters are not getting cured.
Okay.
For example, when we do our therapy study on the patients, we have amino acid products, which are parental nutrition products. But we found there are so many malnutrition kids getting born in India, and it is not easy to make them survive by only feeding externally, because their gut is not developed even now.
Okay.
So we launched an amino acid product for the pediatric patients in 50 ml glass vial, 100 ml glass vial, by which extreme malnutrition kids also can survive.
Okay.
So once we identify the unmet need, we can work upon the unmet need.
Okay.
This is called a process of research and development.
Okay. So for companies who are working on the met needs or the defined needs, unmet needs would be very interesting segment, which even the customer doesn't know he has.
Correct. It's called a white space in the technical terms in pharma.
So there's no red ocean kind of.
Correct. We call it blue ocean market, because in the already met needs, you are crowding the market. Then Otsuka doesn't believe in it. Our DNA is very clear. In Japanese, as you asked me before, you can't go down. Our promoters gave this philosophy. By sweat, we recognize the way. That is called Jisho. It's like actualization of ideas. You not satisfy until you actualize it. This is also brilliantly designed by our Otsuka DNA, I would say. That you do it, but sometimes, it's not clear, results are not clear. So first actualize the results. And then you can say, oh, this is the right way.
Actualizing, so you would redo it, or feedback loop, and then
you measure the results. You understand the results.
So this is part of every process.
Every process. Then you understand, okay, now, fine, actualized. Fine, agree. There is a clear, I would say, the evidence-based, outcome, evidence-based strategy.
It then gets validated.
Then validated. Third is, so to say, is called creativity. So what is unique in Otsuka? What are we made for contributing in a unique way, which only Otsuka can do? So this is a profound thinking. So by that, our research and development institutes work on the unmet needs, and continuously they are trying to bring new novel products from Otsuka. Recently, we have acquired one therapeutic company in USA, JNNA, which is working on the rare diseases. So this is if this is something which I want to tell the Indian pharmaceutical players that this is a time for India, that we are known as a pharmacy of the world for volume rather than value. We should now start thinking on this, and of course they are doing. I'm not saying that they are not doing, but and maybe they are having a constraint of resources or the scientists in India, but I don't think so. It is a kind of a matter of passion to bring novel products with identifying the unmet needs in India. We have enough talent available. I'm telling you by my experience that there is no dearth of talent. Only thing that keeping them on the task is sometimes a little bit difficult in India, because of the surrounding environment is quite appealing in terms of other kind of lucrative things. And but over a period of time, then we have to move to this area and work with a novel medicine approach.
So India's pharmacy positioning around the world, India has to evolve and move from a volume-based to a very quality-based approach. That's what you're trying to say.
That's right.
Okay. So if you could also tell us the size of the Otsuka India in terms of the team, in terms of the factory, or in terms of volume, it will give us a perspective of the scale of the impact. You already said that we are example, Otsuka is already serving 1 out of every patient, 5 patients in India, and also it's helping more patients across 70 countries. So, what is the team size and the factory size scale of Otsuka?
Yeah, I would like to start from the people of Otsuka. So we are, a manpower intensive unit, and our factory has 550 employees, but and around 1,000 workers coming to our factory every day, and we have a balance of male-female ratio in workers. Where most of the packing activities, etc., are managed by our workers. 50% of them are females.
Okay.
So this is the size of the people at our factory. Then at the corporate office where I sit, it is a little bit lean, and around 130 people sit in the corporate office. The pan-India sales field force is nearly 300. So this is the size of people that we have. Of course, in the international business, we do not have much of experts to send because we are working on distributor model. So this is the size of people. So Otsuka today is around, I would say, $80 million company today. 700 crores roughly our top line is for 2024-25. And my vision is to take it to add 1 zero to it.
$1 billion.
Make it a $500 million company by introducing new products from Japan and elsewhere in the world, contributing more to the healthcare and all this kind of things. We are the largest IV large volume parenteral manufacturer in India. There are small volume manufacturers larger than us, but in the large volume, at one place, we are the largest manufacturer.
So interesting. So you spoke about adding 1 zero to it, right? So what is the new trends Otsuka is looking at, and among these trends of growth, how is Otsuka planning to evolve into a bigger, and add value to patients?
I would say that the new trend is digital transformation everywhere. Using AI is now creeping in, but for pharmaceutical segment, one of the issue is the regulatory cliffs. Regulatory issues are dominant. The industry 4.0, if you try to benchmark, probably it's not easy in pharma so far.
Okay.
Because if you try to change something, it requires so many approvals.
Yes.
And trials and many things are there. It is a highly regulated space. So it has not been able to benchmark the industry 4.0 as of now. But the new trend is that now pharma players also do not want to stay behind. And they want to break through this situation. This is a new trend.
Okay.
And I think a lot of OEM, original equipment manufacturers, are helping us doing so.
Okay.
This is one thing. And in terms of pharmaceutical segment in India, I would say the business remodeling is a new trend.
Okay.
Earlier, it was very simple. Either manufacture or sale or something like that. Research, everything was happening in a kind of an orthodox manner.
Okay.
Now it's not so. The supply chain synergy is now becoming global. We have so many vendors from several parts of the world, and we are exporting to several parts of the world. So, what kind of value addition we are doing? What exactly we can do the best in our place that we should retain with us? Rest of the things have to be outsourced. And earlier, the research and development was a kind of, I would say, responsibility or rather a passion of big pharma companies. But now the trend is changing. They are trying to just take up the research company, acquire that research, and rather than indulging in research. Because doing research and running a business are very, very different things. And this requires a totally different mindset. With that, kind of a business remodeling is now being taken into consideration, which is the latest trend, I would say, in pharma, and everyone is trying to catch up with this trend.
And so you spoke about the business remodeling trend, how companies now acquisitions happening with the money coming in and everything. I was also curious to understand how Otsuka is trying to grow from the product perspective, right? Because we're trying to now scale the impact, and Otsuka is already number one for certain aspects in it, and it's having the highest market share that we spoke about. So, among Otsuka's products, which are the future products that you see, or where do you see Otsuka is going to be creating or able to add more value to the patients, not only in India but globally?
So we have, as I told you, that with Claris we started the joint venture. It was mainly infusions, basically.
Okay.
Then finally, as I told you, the journey of finding out the space to contribute to the mission of, handle infection control, we innovated technologically and we brought it. Now malnutrition.
Okay.
So we have introduced the disease-specific enteral nutrition products.
Okay.
Like these are like the powder products which a patient can take. Those who want to get cured faster.
Okay.
This really helps them getting discharged from hospital faster.
Okay.
So it's a kind of a more comprehensive therapy where we are present in the basic IV to the amino acid and lipid products and enteral nutrition products. So it is a kind of an indication that for a diabetic patient, we have launched the Hynex DM.
Okay.
For Hynex is the name of the brand of this medicine, this powder. Then for the protein deficiency, we have launched Hynex HP.
Okay.
And for the symbiotic formulation, we call Hynex ST plus, 100 plus. Like that, now we are coming for various indications, like onco support and all these kind of things. So this will help all strata of the patients. This is one.
Okay.
Another thing is in the infusion therapy. Otsuka's original product we launched in the last year, we call it B-Fluid.
Okay.
So this is a double chamber bag.
Okay.
And once we bring this bag on the patient, near to patient, we have to press it, and there is a nice weak seal between, and the liquid gets merged. This is not present in India. So currently we have to import from our affiliate company in Indonesia, from Otsuka Indonesia, which is nearby. But we are going to start manufacturing of this product in India within a year or two, because we have started building a plant on this. So these are all, I would say, the immediate ways. Apart from that, we are now opening up therapeutic drugs pipeline in India, by which the highly researched Otsuka's products which are curing some specific diseases will be launched in India, because now they included Indian patients into the clinical trials that they are doing globally, which was earlier not the case. Thanks to our earlier CEO and our team members who could convince them. And the last decade of India, which has really thrown open the brand Bharat to the global arena. Maybe now they have started thinking, this is very important. We cannot ignore India. And they have added Indian patients into the clinical trials. So these are our futuristic growth plans.
So that's very interesting that you spoke that now the aspects of Indian patients are also being okayed as trial patients. So and you also spoke about the brand Bharat, or so India started off with this journey of Make in India, and under our Prime Minister's vision. So, and a lot of things have happened. A lot of things have been progressively happening. So, if we could ask you one thing that you feel that the Indian pharmaceutical industry should, or the government should get a take on. So, what is your advice for the government in the aspect of how they can amplify this? How they can change the positioning of India from a volume person to a quality. So what is your advice or your thoughts or your inputs from your perspective for the government?
I think excellent questions. This is the dire need of the day. We are, for example, the IV, we call it essential medicine. In the terminology of the government, it's called NLEM, National Listed Essential Medicine. So the prices are determined by the governments, and it is not open for the market to decide. So, one has to understand that every innovation has a cost. If we want to be innovative, if we want to bring innovations, then we have to create a space for those innovations. Otherwise, the manufacturers cannot bring innovations. But luckily, I would say the government is also agile and they have taken steps about it. I would say last 5, 6 years, 10 years, I am seeing government understands this, that which was not the case earlier.
Taking
just
very
you
good
to, that they have created some space for the innovation in our sector. But a lot more thing is yet to be done. I would say, then only, if you deregulate certain things, unnecessary, which are existing, that will throw open the demand supply, will automatically control prices in a country like us.
One thing that could be deregulated.
A kind of a pricing cap,
Ah.
I would say. And of course, then in that case, the regulators should monitor that there is not, it should be fairly priced. We always say in Otsuka that we support fair pricing. I'm not a big, I would not do too much advocacy of too much affordability. Of course, affordability is important in a country like us, but it's not the only thing. It's not everything. If you just try to say medicine should be cheap, medicine should be free, so somebody has to take note of it. And finally, I'm telling you, Suraj, that Indian patients are suffering because of this. They feel that we are getting free medicines from government and all, but they are filthy generic, too much basic level medicines. We are not getting high-end medicines. Of course, the medical fraternity, doctors and all, they are trying to bring new innovative things. But one thing I would like to say is that do not too much regulate certain areas and allow it free flow. Those who will be able to innovate, bring the medicine, and there are certain medicines which are quite proven in several parts of the world. But we need some things to happen in India, like clinical trials, etc., which is also good. I'm not saying no. The scientific committees are taking that step, which is also good. And such kind of governance system is good. But we have to take a call to invite, the big players to launch its novel medicines in India. I would say it will really help patients. Somewhere we will take risk. The time has come. Second thing, need to align our pharmacopoeia with the globally accredited pharmacopoeia. For example, I am a finance accounts guy, you said, right? So before 20 years, there was a concept emerged in the world called IFRS, International Financial Regulatory Standards. And India adapted to it. Because if the India could not have done it, it created a big roadblock for the globalization. One balance sheet is on Indian accounting standard, another balance sheet is on US GAAP, third balance sheet is on the Europe accounting standard. How do we deal with the companies, acquisition law? But once they come to the IFRS, a common standard, it's easy to make a deal. Similar way, it is the time for India that we have to align to the, at least I would say, the PICS regulation, which is mostly prevailing in the rest of the Asia, big countries. I think if we align ourselves, it will work wonders for us.
Open up more
We have a huge potential in India. So many patients are not being still given the right kind of medicines. And I think the pharma players will become more enthusiastically, rather more enchanting for them to serve the patients. Just pushing the medicine is not a good way. Just marketing, pushing the medicine. Just do the best which patients need. It's a better way of doing the pharmaceutical business.
So one aspect is, if a person is working in the corporate industry, corporate world, there's so much of intense work that goes on. There is stress, there is push, there is growth, there is workload. Depends directly proportional to the industry they are in and the company that they're working for. And we are seeing this aspect of unwinding, and also hearing the aspect of work-life balance. So from you've been a person who has been in corporate life for so many years, right? So what is your advice for the youth in terms of how can they unwind, or how can they offload the stress, or how can they balance their work and life, or whatever is required? What are the aspects? So on this perspective, what are your thoughts?
I think you should listen to our Prime Minister Modi. You can see his way of working. Do you think at this age, does he look tired or he's just doing, right? So maybe I won't say he's a role model for many, but the simplest of things is that he also told in one of his speeches is that why you think work is a burden? The problem starts from there. Doing more work means more burden. Then I think you have to reinvent the way of working. Somewhere you are doing mistake. So you reinvent the way. Once you do it, it becomes fun, kind of. We say fun at work, but from Japanese people I really learned, people look at them as they are workaholic people, but actually speaking, they enjoy the work. They do the role diligently. And I really worked with them, and I realized that you should learn how to enjoy the work. How to enjoy that work. But the life is in this moment. The burden comes when we are too much attaching itself with the futuristic, unseen, unforeseen situations. Things have not happened. Try to compare yourself with others, and set over expectations, etc. Then it just goes to the burden level. Otherwise, if you stay in the moment and do your best, learn from the past. I would say it's called a PPF approach. PPF is a famous word: past, present, and future. So learn from the past, live in the present, and prepare for the future. This is the best way, where you will not require any inorganic ways to do unwinding. Which you will think that I'm not against it. You want to do certain things extraordinarily, which are beyond your nature. Sometimes okay. No need to bind too much. Something is ethical, something is not ethical. These are all the boundaries created by self. I feel that once a person starts enjoying the work, whatever he's doing, I think automatically results will speak, and that will bring motivation or fuel to do better in the next phase.
So not to look at work as a burden, and then look at ways of enjoying it or working.
And if at all you start thinking as a burden, try to reinvent the way. The half of the problems are solved when you stop comparing yourself with others. It's impossible actually. And I always say my colleagues that we are talking about competitor analysis. Every business. But frankly speaking, you are actually competing only with yourself. If you do it, and if you bring continuous improvement plan, in Japanese we call Kaizen, then automatically you beat external competition. But we forget internal competition, and we try to benchmark external competition.
So what is the most surprising thing that you have learned in your whole career, being in the corporate space? Surprising thing.
Surprising was like, learn, unlearn, relearn is not a theory, but it actually works. Provided you allow it. Ano Bhadra Katavayantu Vishwata. Let the noble thoughts come to you from all directions. And this learn, unlearn, relearn is not a theory. In my career, it has actually worked. I would not say I am a good relearner, but I'm a good unlearner. The unlearning happens fast. It creates space for relearning.
And how to be a good unlearner?
Again, Anasakta Yoga, you try to practice, that learn from young generation. We have a habit of preaching to young generation always. It's a wrong thing. In today's arena, actually they are smarter than you. They know so many things which you came to know at the age of 30, 40, 50. We should learn from young generation. And that really embarks upon a kind of thinking that I need to unlearn the orthodox ways of working. That creates an urge to relearn certain newer ways and means.
Imagining that you have an access to a huge billboard out there, which the whole youth is going to see, who are going to be future joining these companies. So what is the one message that you would want to put on that billboard?
Yeah, I would like to say that do little, but do it well. Today we are scattered into too many things. Actually. We are too much jack of all. We think it is multitasking. Fine. But if we try to understand the manufacturing giants in the world, Germany, Japan, China now, USA, many other countries, right? You go there and see how they are doing the manufacturing. They are specializing in certain niche segment, and they are really manufacturing it in such a way that it integrates and adds value to the overall system. So I would say do little but do it well. Even our ancient situation, if you see, it's not only that you have to go to the foreign countries to take lesson from here. The ancient scriptures you see, literatures you see, they are so profound because they really mastered that piece very, very well. And that's why I would like to say everybody, whatever you do in the short journey of this life, do little but do it well.
Yeah. So one question is, what is the best and the most worthwhile investment you have done till now? It could be time or it could be money. So it's over this period of time.
I think I was never a rich class person. Neither am I today. So yeah, time is something. I feel that, as you also asked before, work-life balance. That I think the best investment is that being present. Time is a constantly flowing thing. So somebody told me before 10-15 years, you should develop switch on, switch off theory.
Okay.
Go from office, switch off office.
Okay.
Switch on the family. So this actually I feel that I have invested my time balancing both the things. That they also supported very, very well.
It has worked?
It has worked. Okay. They are supportive. When you are into the moment, they can understand you.
Parag sir, it's been incredible to have you on the podcast, and we spoke about a lot about your journey in context of how you have gone across from as a fresher to becoming a CEO in a multinational, and also immensely about a 100-year-old legacy company, Otsuka, that has been adding so much value to people and to patients and to the industry here, and how they are now amplifying it by getting into the well-being space. And not only that, they are trying to help people here in India, the patients, but they are helping the 70 countries across the globe. So that's been incredible learning, and the philosophies of the Otsuka team, not only India, but it's incredible to see that they are looking at the perspective till 2050 from the bigger Otsuka body that sits in Japan, and they are trying to also overlook the aspects and understanding India's time and being part of the understanding culture of Japanese and balancing it with India. It's an incredible mindset that they have, and for us, it's been an incredible time talking to you and getting so many stories and understanding. So thank you so much for your time, Parag sir. It's been incredible to have you on the podcast.
Thank you so much, Suraj, for inviting me. I think it is really enchanting for me to talk to you. I learned more than anybody from today. And the last thing I would like to say, our philosophy in pharma is to cure people. Sarve santu niramaya, we call. And the shloka in Sanskrit is Sarve bhavantu sukhina, Sarve santu niramaya, Sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschit dukkha bhagavad. Let everybody be happy. And things are well. So this is the philosophy with which Otsuka is flourishing. We all are flourishing. Bharat, India is flourishing, and globally we want to say this to everyone. Please join us in this journey of making a great world around us. Thank you so much.